Hello and welcome to Babbles Travelling Yarns, or Babbles Yarns. I haven't travelled anywhere in a long time. I think I should get rid of the travelling part. If this is your first time logging in or signing on or pressing play on my podcast, the reason why it was called Babbles Travelling Yarns is because I started this when I was travelling around the world, like 8-9 years ago. That's madness. 2016 is when I started it. 9 years. Oh my goodness, that's a long time ago. Since then, life has changed a lot. I did a lot of traveling. I settled down back in Ireland, in my hometown of Limerick, and I'm now married and have one baby and another on the way. So it's a real switcheroo on this one, but it's just life, things change, different seasons, welcome to my little crafty corner of the world of the YouTube. And so I couldn't get a podcast filmed last week, and this is why. Like it? Do you like your hot chocolate?
Yeah.
So we had a super fun time. Lol. I was wrecked because all of Creche was closed with the snowmageddon, snow death. We got quite a lot of snow up here on the hill, quite a lot for us. In Ireland, it's actually extremely rare to get snow that stays for longer than like 1 or 2 days. So we had snow for a solid week, and we're not prepared for it. The Gulf Stream hits us and brings in very mild weather. And especially the southwest, it's very rare to get snow in the southwest. Normally you'd more likely to get it up north or over in Dublin or Wicklow, somewhere like that. But it's very rare to get it down this side of the country, the southwest, because that is where the Gulf Stream hits us. And it just basically makes our weather really mild. So we had a couple of days of not being able to leave the house, which was fine. We have absolutely tons of food. Our electricity never went out, which is good because our electricity is on the well. That's how we get our water. It's pumped from a well because we're not connected to mains, because we live up in the mountains. And we were very lucky. We made a lot of hot chocolate, which was delicious. And now she's obsessed with hot chocolate. So I bought I bought like the instant as opposed to like melting a whole bar of hot chocolate in milk, which is a bit decadent. So yeah, so we're onto the hot chocolate and hot milk. She's now into hot milk and cold milk. And I'm like, yes. Because she really wasn't interested in any sort of milk. I breastfed her until she was like 2 years, 2 months, and it was just water and juice. And so now we're switching from the juice, which is like the tiniest bit of like Ribena or squash, or it's basically diluted so much. But it's still, I just hate the idea of her like drinking juice all the time. But yeah, so we're onto the milk. Yes, calcium. So happy about that. How am I getting on other than that? Recovering from a very, very long illness. I have been to my antenatal check. I'm 28 weeks today. So, or no, a couple of days ago. I can't remember. I'm not very good at the dates. The dates are kind of all off anyway. That's fine. And everything is good. Everything's happy. But I am not doing great. Just pregnancy is just really hard. It's just rough. Like, it's rough. Sorry, that's the indigestion that is kicking in whenever I eat something. And whenever I eat something as well, my blood pressure like plummets through the floor and I have to lie down for half an hour, which is not great when you're expected to work. So I've actually been signed off sick. So luckily in Ireland, pregnancy related illness is protected under sick leave. So you can take as much sick as you need to because obviously, you know, that's quite an important part of pregnancy, and it is established that it is rough and not easy to work all the way through. And then once baby's here, then I'm hoping to be off. In Ireland, we have paid maternity up until 6 months, and then we have an option to do 3 months unpaid, and then after 9 months, I would be using up all of my annual leave, and I get about 30 days annual leave because I am a senior healthcare worker in the HSE. It's just part of my contract. So 30 days annual leave. And then I'm not sure if 30 days is also counting. I don't think it is. So 30 days, normal days, and then also the bank holiday days, which I didn't take because I was off on maternity. So they were all banked up. So basically it gives me around maybe another 2-ish months of leave. And then we get another form of leave, which is paid, thank God. And that is called parents' leave. So mother and father can take up to 9 weeks separately. Like, so it's 18 weeks between the both of us. But like I get 9 weeks, James takes 9 weeks. We can't really swap it. So yeah, so that'll bring us up to a year, which is amazing because it's very hard to find childcare for any baby under a year old. So it just works out like that. A lot of the time, not always. Now, a lot of people I know have, especially during COVID, because the baby rooms closed down and they were only taking kids from a year up or something like that. I don't know, there was big drama over that because it meant that people had to stop working, and that was really difficult. So anyway, all that to say, I'm fine. But I am signed off work and I am not capable of driving an hour a day, working 8 hours on the floor with patients, and then, driving home. I'm not able to do that currently. So instead what I'm doing is crafts. Resting most of the time and crafts. So I'm going to update you on a few little things. I have a list. I'm going to update you on the sweater that I'm knitting, and my drift sweater, my drift pattern. And I'm going to show you my new cast on, which is not the cast on I was speaking about last week. And some books that I'm reading. Some books that I have been reading while putting the child down for a nap during the snow because we couldn't go anywhere, do anything. And my plans for books in the future. And then some also, I'm going to talk a little bit about, now I'm not sure if anyone's interested, but some preserving that I did and some postpartum prep. It's basically nesting. I feel like I'm nesting. Yeah, even though I've a long way to go. But you know what, the sooner you start, the better, especially when you feel crappy, you know, like. Someone else asked about the cats, a little update on the cats. So we started out with 4 cats moving into this house. Unfortunately, we are down to 2 cats. So Little Miss Toast, who was the second cat that we found on the side of the road, she unfortunately died about 9 months after we moved into this house. She just died on the road. It's a small country road and people literally blast up and down it. And she was found by our neighbour and buried by the side of the road. So whenever we go for a walk, we say, hello, Toasty. But we do miss her an awful lot because she actually died on Christmas Eve about 2 years ago, which was very sad. But we found it on Stephen's Day, so which is the day after Christmas Day. But in Ireland, you call it Stephen's Day. St. Stephen's Day. There's a lot of S's in there. But anyway. And then last summer, we lost our other girl cat in the same manner. Peanut. Beautiful little Peanut, little slinky Peanut. She was a rescue from Limerick Animal Welfare that James got when I was pregnant with my first child. And he got her without my asking, without my saying so. But she was just the most beautiful little kitten. And so now we were left with our 2 big chunky boy cats. So it turns out that the girl cats were doing all the killing, and the bird population has absolutely skyrocketed since the 2 girl cats have passed away. So I mean, I'm like, not happy. I'm not happy. You know, it's sad. But it's nature and that's the way it goes. But yeah, so the 2 boy cats are apparently completely useless at hunting, which is classic cat behavior. But they like to look and try, which is kind of like, a little bit pathetic. So Jam is our black and white cat, and he actually lost his leg, we think in a trap, maybe. Anyway, so he's a tripod cat. He's only has 3 legs. So he actually used to be a fearsome hunter, and now he's been crippled. So not so fearsome anymore. Although he really wants to be, bless him. But you know what? We love the birdies because the birdies eat the slugs and the slugs eat my cabbages. So, you know. And then Beans is just generally useless. He's very cuddly. He's gorgeous. He's beautiful, but very useless as a hunter. Although we did find a mouse, a headless mouse. And I'm like, yes, you know what? You can do the mouses, but if we could just avoid the birdies, that'd be great. So yeah, they're just both real chunky, like sleepy, silly boys. So they're doing absolutely perfectly. Beans is the oldest, the longest surviving, because he's the laziest. And Jamboy, bless him, has been actually probably the leg being gone. It's probably saved his life because he's like slower. Do you know what I mean? So he's not like trying to run anywhere. He's like, I'll just limp around and then sleep for like 19 hours a day, which is fine. He's happy out, but he's still very cautious, very careful. So there'll be no touching of the Jamboy, only when he allows you very slowly approach in the morning, and only when you're about to feed him. He's a smart kitten. So yeah. So unfortunately we're down to 2 cats, but they are very happy cats. They're very cozy and loving the winter, because we were feeding all the birds outside. I'll just show you. Outside our patio, we were feeding the birds, and they would just sit down here at the window and just like, you know, that noise that they do. They're like, I'm going to get you, and then actually never got any of them. But yeah, the bird watching was absolutely like really intense. It was beautiful. It was so nice. We saw loads of different types of birds. There's a robin out there. There's a couple of robins actually, and they're so chunky. I think their feathers like puff up when it's cold, and they look like chunky. So they're very well fed as well, because our little girl has to go out and feed them every day. James interrupted me. He has this like sixth sense as to when I'm. He's singing to Jam Boy right now. He has a sixth sense when I'm podcasting, and he just has to. Either he rings me and stops the recording, or he. Oh, dear. What a messy mess. Anyway, so look at my little foxy mug. He's so cute. He's got a little tail on it. It's so cute. So let's get on to the knitting, shall we? Right. So this is in my very old Cottage Number 9 bag. It has hot chocolate on it. It whatever this is. I use it literally all the time. It is so handy. And this is, sorry now, I need to find out where the rest of my yarn for this is, because I know I have tons, literally tons of this. I think I dyed like 8 skeins of this. So this is actually, it's a nettle and linen blend, and I was looking on Apple Oak Fiberworks website and they don't have it. They do have pure hand spun nettle, which is amazing. I think I actually have a load of that as well. I bought it from the same place. I really want to weave like rugs with it. I think that'll be incredible. Anyway, whenever that's going to happen. So this is the yarn that I'm using. It was previously being used to knit another sweater, which was beautiful, but I messed it up really significantly. So I said, listen, we'll just do a simple, my favorite pattern, my favorite pattern of all time for a jumper, which is the Drift pattern by Kristen Finlay of Skein Yarn. Sorry, I'm going to be burping throughout this. You just have to get used to it. This is such a beautiful pattern. It's so easy. It's so mindless. I love it. So it's basically increasing the yoke according to the numbers. This is modified slightly to just use the eyelets as increases instead of increasing in a purl row, which is quite cute. It makes like little ridges, and then you do eyelets, knit 2 together, so it just kind of evens it out in between. But I just decided to do this one, and I think I'm on the size, I did this biggest size. Yeah, I think I did, just because pretty big, and I'll be big for a while, so I might as well go for that, and then hopefully it'll just be an oversized cutesy pootsy sweater after that. So I'm knitting it on 4mm. I'm thinking it's so mindless that I just pick up needles that I feel like will be right. I've knit it 3 times, and 4mm needles, Chow Goose, my faves, except when the cats chew this bit. I knit this entire blanket on a cable which had been chewed. It was a nightmare. Why didn't I just change it? I don't know. I just did it. This knit up in about 3 days though, so I was like, just keep going. It'll be okay. Why do I suffer through these things? I don't know. So then I'm just doing a really simple, I like having a little border between the front and the back. So I'm just doing a really simple 2 purl stitches down under the underarm. I have the underarms on separate, like I think these are hat needles, Licca hat needles, because I have no, what's the word? These are like Knit Pro hat needles, which I'm just not using. So I'm just using them. And then I've got some beautiful stitch markers, which I don't know where they're from. I feel like someone gave them to me. I don't think I bought these. These are so beautiful. Look how pretty they are. They're like mermaids. And then I have my Progress Keeper, which is over here. And this is from Hannah. corner of craft. I think I bought these. I did. I bought these, and I bought like a white one and a black one. So very cute. So this is how much I've knit. Now, the actual rounds are 400 stitches. So this is actually a lot of knitting, despite what it looks like. And I'm only doing like 1 or 2 rounds a night, sitting in front of the TV watching bloody Spider-Man. Oh my God. I just could do without watching Spidey and his amazing friends for like 2 hours. Oh my God. But anyway, when you're sick and when you're pregnant and when you can't be arsed with life, it's how you cope. So that's that. So the other thing that I just got into my head was I have wanted to make... So Ellie from Skein Deer had this pattern, this book pattern of all of the kind of Norwegian mittens. She had like 4 patterns or 5 patterns, I can't remember. And it's beautiful. I bought it years and years ago. And I have yarn set aside for all of those mittens. And I was going through something. Oh yeah, we were having a little giveaway party at like a raffle. Everyone would bring a prize, and you just like pick your prize at my local knitting group. And I went through all my yarn to see what I wanted to put into a little package. And this yarn was just scrap yarn. It was really nice, but I was like, I'm gonna make these friggin' mittens. So yeah, I cast them on. So my child keeps losing mittens. Should I make a very elaborate, lovely pair of Norwegian mittens for a child who keeps losing them? Probably not. I'm going to crochet like a long thing and put it inside her clothes so she won't lose them. They'll be on a string. But anyway, so this is, I think it's not a sport weight. It's definitely fingering weight. I think it says sport weight, but it's not. It's a fingering weight. It's very, very light. And the mittens are basically, you change the size based on gauge. So if I wanted an adult pair, it would have to be DK. And I would have to knit them on slightly bigger needles. So these are knit on 3mm needles, Chow Goose. I'm just knitting one at a time. And they're just so good. They're just so pretty. So they're like perfect toddler size, young child size. Yeah, so these are the Mebenden mittens. Hang on, what did I say? Mebenden mittens. So I have knit up, and I have just I've held the thumb. I love the way the thumb is made. It's just beautiful. You're just increasing either side. And I love the pattern of the palm. It's literally just every second. It's just beautiful. It's like a checkerboard pattern. The light isn't great now. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see that. But it's the prettiest. The yarn is a little bit fluffy. I can't remember what it is. I literally, this was just kind of scrap stuff but it was balls of stuff. I think I bought like an entire rainbow of it. And it was like, it's lovely, but I can't remember what it is. I think there might be mohair or Angora or something in it. So nice. It's really nice. It's really warm. So this is the first mitten that I'm doing, and yeah, so hopefully I'm going to knit them up, and sure, look, by the time I've actually knit them, the cold season will be gone. Classic. I should have just knit some plain old garter stitch silly ones from Tin Can Knits or something. But sure, look, I got some notions in my head about the fact that I was going to finally knit some bloody mittens. And sure, look, it's not a girl yarn, it's not a boy yarn, so it'll do for any little thing that pops out of me here. So, because we're not finding out the gender until they show up. So, show up, like it's gonna be that easy. Yeah, be fine. So yeah, it'll fit someone, right? It'll fit someone. but they're so cute, and they're actually super fast to whip up. Like if you're following the pattern, like the pattern like just really whips up really, really fast. Like I think I did this in two or 3 days. Like I did the cuff in 1 day, and then I did this bit in another day and a half maybe. And just while we were watching like Frozen and silly things on TV, because we literally couldn't leave the house because it was so miserable. So, you know, proper hygge life. Hygge. So that's what I've been knitting really, just on those 2 little bits. I've got a few extra bits which I'm still kind of tossing around with, but they're the main ones. I still haven't cast on this bloody lovely, beautiful yarn from Hannah. I think I'm just like nervous I'll mess it up or something. I don't know, it's so pretty. But yeah. I'm running out of time. Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? I'm running out of time. I'm such a procrastinator. So why am I procrastinating so much? Because I've been reading books. I'm back into books. So a couple of friends of mine, Joanna from Stitch in the High Notes and Gabby from Plies and Hellhounds and Nessa from Kill to Craft have like this little book club situation, and we are sometimes we'll get a notion into our head and we'll be like, let's all read this one book, and they were all like, oh yeah, I'm going to start on the 1st of January. And there's me being like, I don't have any time to read anything. I've not read anything in ages, blah, blah, blah. I'm just reading like silly romance things and let's be honest, what is not. And just like very light stuff. I'd kind of gone totally out of the fantasy genre. I just couldn't, I don't know, it just annoyed me for a while. And then they were like, oh no, we have to listen to this. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Oh, I started on the 28th. And I finished it on New Year's Eve before everyone else had started. This is the series. The, what's it called again? The Chronicles of Nyaxia. The first book is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And then the second book, which of course I literally downloaded and read it immediately. Kindle Unlimited. I treated myself as a Christmas present to a year of Kindle Unlimited. A very generous gift to myself. Yeah, so they're really good, is what I'm saying. I couldn't not start the next book. So there's 2 books concentrating on these 2 characters, and there's another 2 books concentrating on another set of 2 characters, which are kind of like side characters in the first 2 books. Incredible. Incredible. So let me just give you a little blurb. So it's vampires. It's a vampire town, land, city. I don't understand how the economics works for a vampire country. Like, it doesn't really make I don't know. Anyway, there doesn't seem to be much farming going on, is what I'm saying, you know, because you have to have a farm to feed your human population, who is then your food source, right? Anyway, let's not get into the, you know, let's just whimsy over all of that. Okay, this is why the fantasy thing started to get to me. I was taking everything too literally, and I was like, no, this doesn't make any sense economically. And I'm like, shut up, Grace. So anyway, so this human girl has been rescued from this purge that was done on this town by the king of Nyaxia. Vincent is his name. And he was rescued and raised as his own daughter. Human daughter, vampire king. Confusion. So she's basically been raised her whole life in complete terror, right? Complete terror. Always terrified of everybody, always watching out for herself, always wears leathers all the time, all the way up to her neck and everything. Makes sense. I'm like, finally, a female heroine who actually needs to wear leathers all the time for protection. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so she starts that anyway. So the story about the kingdom is there's basically two different types of vampires. Actually, there's a couple of different types of vampires, but there's the Rishan and the Ixchel or something. Anyway, so Vincent is the Ixie people. They've got basically the Batwing guys versus the Eagle Wing guys. Okay, feathers, bats, right? So the bats have been in charge for 300 years, but they're always like fighting each other and they're always trying to get blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and the humans are just like caught in the middle. It's a bit messy. But yeah, so, and then I can't remember how many years, every 300 years or something, I don't know. The goddess Nyaxia starts this kind of Hunger Games trials. And if you win, if you're the last person standing in these trials, you get a wish from Nyaxia, which most people, like the last time Vincent won it, so he basically was like, I want to rule the kingdom. And she was like, okay. And then she is a messy B word. There is spice in it, significant spice, only once or twice. So I wouldn't recommend a young, well, you know, just use your own thing. But yeah, so she enters in the contest, and Vincent's like, I've been training you your whole life for this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you've been training a human girl to fight with like 500 vampires to see who lives? I have questions about your ability to parent is my first question. Like, what is the story? Anyway, so yeah, it's actually really good. It's really good. Like there's a few bits that doesn't make sense, you know, but we just whimsy over it. So, and there's this guy called Rain, who's a cutie patootie, and we love him. And he's all like mysterious, broody, but also extremely sassy. And I like him a lot. I like him a lot. He's a very sassy man. And he has a best friend called, forget her name, Misha. And she is actually the main character of the third and fourth books, I think. Her and another lad, which I might have just not paid attention. He might have been there in the first books, but whatever. I'm like, no, give me a new intro. Something else. I don't know. I haven't launched into that one because I was like, no, I want to savor these first two books. They're like lovely. I love a duology. I'm like, yes, give me just because there's no awkward middle book in there, you know. Anyway, very much enjoyed those. Read them in maybe 7 days, both of them, with a toddler. Like normally I'd read a book in like a day if I didn't have a toddler and any jobs to do. So, and then I started a book, and the girls, by the way, are still like, we're on the 14th day of January and they're only still on the first book. I swear to God, hurry up, girls. Come on. I got stuff to talk about. Come on. I need to calm down. It's fine. But like, oh my God, there's so much to talk about. So then I started on another book, which was recommended to me on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, Book Talk. Disappointed. The Trial of the Sun King. It's basically Throne of Glass. Yes, there are some good like phrases. There's like some really funny turns of phrase, some really good writing in there, but it was basically essentially, I don't know, there was something a bit crass about it starting, and then I was like, oh, okay, and then it was basically the same thing. So I actually DNF'd it at 52%. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. Yeah, so these like 10 girls are fighting over this king, the Sun King, and he's all like, you know, makes them shiver anytime he passes, and he's all like giving them all winks, and including this girl who's been like in a prison since she was 7 years old. Like, girl, ew, you know, ew. And then they're all warned, like, don't fall in love with him, don't try anything because he can't help it, he's a man, it's up to you. And I'm like, ugh! Close the book. Now I know it's probably just that character and that's what she believes in, blah, blah, blah. But I was just like, oh, it's just turned me right off. Turned me right off. And like the thing is that the main character in the back of her mind didn't really question it too much. And I was just like, I do not like this at all. I don't know. I just got bad vibes off it. So I stopped it. And then, now I've actually started re-listening to Mistborn from Brandon Sanderson. And it is such a good book. Oh man. The first time I read it, I was like 17, 18 maybe. And I got the audiobook. Whenever I'm looking for audio, whenever I'm looking to like use up my credits or something, whenever I need to, I'm like, what's the best value? I need the longest book you have, please. Like, give me 22 hours of listening, please, because that's value in my mind. So I got the first 3 Mistborn series. They're the Final Empire series. And I was like, there's like 72 hours of reading in that. Yes. So... So yeah, enjoying that. And so that's just what I'm listening to when I'm doing things and when I'm going to sleep and when, so I have an audiobook on. But the next thing I need to read, so I read that first book, what's it called? Iron Flame is the second one by Rebecca Yarros. The one with the dragons is like 2 dragons, one's really grumpy and one's like a child. And then there's like a girl with Ehlers-Danlos and she's super powerful in other ways. And then there's some dude. There's some dudes, There's like a brother, a scary mother. You know the one I'm talking about, right? I cannot think of it. Pregnancy brain. So Iron Flame is the next one and I never read it. I read the first one and I was like, yeah, okay, right, okay. And the final one is coming out and I'm like, I should probably read it. And I have the time now to read it. So I was thinking, I've got 2 credits to use. Will I spend them on these 2, on Iron Flame? Because I don't know if I'll... Like, I know I read the first one really fast, like good writing. And I'm just not sold. I don't know, there's something about venom. And I'm seeing too many spoilers. Okay, so I feel like I need to read it before I see everything spoiled. So yeah, I think I'm gonna maybe listen to it instead of read it, and then go back to Mistborn because this is really good. And I know what happens in Mistborn. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like a comfort read. It's kind of like reading your faves over again. So I'm like, I can hop in, chopping out of that. But I haven't read it in so long, I can't remember how it happens, So I'm like, tell me again, I can't remember. So that's good. So yeah, that's my plans for however long. So what have I been doing? So I wanted something to listen to while I was, my eldest went back to creche on Thursday and I was like, free time. So of course, what did I do? I started cleaning. I really wanted to go through all of my cupboards and see what food I have, because my cupboards are full, but I'm like, I don't know what's in there. What am I going to do with it? It's all ingredients. I'm kind of an ingredient household person. Like I can make anything, literally anything, but when I have a newborn, I am not going to be able to make anything. So it needs to be like prepped meals, frozen or canned. Canning. I got a pressure canner for my birthday in May and I've used it once or twice. In the last few days, I've been really getting into canning. So I went through the press and I saw I had loads of chickpeas, like a whole giant bag of chickpeas from like an Asian shop and a whole giant bag of black-eyed peas. Like huge 3 kg bags. And I was like, God. And I used to do this thing where I would soak them, cook them overnight, cook them, and meal prep for the week using them. But you can can beans really easily, apparently. And yeah, I can confirm you can beans really easily. And so what I did was I'll show you. I actually got a couple of marrow bones from the butcher, and I made an absolute ton of beef stock and chicken stock. So I have, out of like, I think they gave me about €5 worth of marrow bones. It was like a whole femur, I think they basically gave me. And I put it in the Instant Pot with all the other vegetables and stuff. And I put it on low for like days and days. And I would strain it off and then fill it full of water again and go again, because there was still loads and loads of goodness on the inside and the marrow. And yeah, so I basically wanted to get loads of stock because my first postpartum, my postpartum doula, Anya, she was the only kind of person I hired in that sort of way. I've hired everybody this time. Everybody. Because I need help. I didn't know how much help I needed, but I need help now. And yeah, so she gave me a whole massive thing of stock. And it was basically just like soup. Just like a really clear, lovely, really protein rich, healthy soup. And it just saved me. Oh my God, it was incredible. So I'm like, I'm doing that myself this year. I'm also hiring her again, but she doesn't do food anymore because something about kitchen regulations and stuff. But she does massage and everything. It's just like, oh, so nice. And like pregnancy support or breastfeeding support and things like that too. So I am in nesting mode. So I made, this was the first round, and then I've got a couple more rounds and they get clearer and clearer. So these are, so basically I had to get, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't get a fifth out of these. I probably could, but I would pressure cook them and then leave it slow cook overnight as well. And then afterwards I would decant it and can them up. And then what I did was, when I had loads of this stock and I had loads of chickpeas and I had loads of beans, black-eyed beans. So I looked at the chickpeas and I was planning on making hummus. I mean, hummus is fine, but you have to freeze it. I don't have much freezer space. So I looked up this recipe and it was basically quick, like instant hummus. So I put in chickpeas. I've got some onions and garlic, or just garlic down there at the bottom, and I've got some roasted red peppers, which I preserved in the summer, and then loads of sesame seeds and some lemon juice and some other business. And then I actually filled it up with stock, with chicken stock actually. So I've made like 10 of these, and I blended up one of them. I left the stock in, and did I? I can't remember if I left the stock in or not. I think I did. And I made it into like this red pepper hummus. And it was really nice, but it wasn't like, it was just a little bit too sloppy, I think. There wasn't any oil in it, you see, because you can't pressure can oil. So what I did instead was I used it as a pasta sauce, and I put cheese in it. Delicious. And proteins. So yeah, with the stock, the chickpeas and all the other good stuff in there, it's really garlicky because I put in loads of garlic because I cannot live without garlic. And it is delicious as a pasta sauce. So yeah, or I think I'm going to strain out the stock next time, maybe add in some oil and then blend it up as a hummus. It's a little bit sharp. I think I put in too much olive oil or lemon juice maybe, but it is delicious. And I followed the recipe. The recipe's down below. There's a couple of different variations. And then the last one I did was these beans. So these chickpeas I actually cooked first and then canned them because I knew I was going to blend it up anyway. But with these, you can actually just put them in dry And then I made basically a chili base, and I put in fajita mix as well into it, because we do eat fajitas and wraps and tacos and things like that quite a lot. So to have this, you can actually make this and blend it down as refried beans. So again, you've got a little bit of garlic in there, beans, some tomatoes. Yeah, some canned, like just chopped tomatoes, like 2 tablespoons of that, and then like all the spices, and then stock on the top of it again. So I just had loads of stock. So I was like, well, I'm going to use it. Not just like, I wanted to make like meals in jars. And these are just jam jars. And the lids are fine. They're clean. I threw out any lids that were dented, like rusted or anything on the inside. So they're nice and clean, and the seal is perfect. It's kind of gone in from the pressure canning. It's gone in, there's no popping. So I know that they're shelf stable and they're safe. And I think stock, you need to pressure can it for like 25 minutes, but these ones with beans, it was 75 minutes. So it's quite a long pressure, like, and it's kind of a loud yolk, it's steaming, and there's blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing the last couple of days. So hopefully I'm going to try out the fajitas today and see what they are like. So I've already tried the hummus, and I didn't make all of them red pepper. I made the other ones olive hummus, which should be really tasty. Excuse me. So I think that's about it. That's all that I've been doing. I just kind of like, I'm into nesting mode. I'm into kind of resting mode as well. And just a lot of plans, ideas, but also just chilling out and not doing too much. I hope you're having a lovely January. We're almost in the middle of it now. Crazy. I am running out of time to make things. What does she wash it in? Oh, that is so nice. I need to make it. Maybe I'll crochet something. Would that be quicker? I might crochet something. Does anyone have any, if anyone has any crochet baby cardigan patterns, let me know. Okay. You and me, let me know. Okay. 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 I love you. Which way do they do it these days? It's just weird. It looks like a spider. Why would you do that? Anyway, bye.